Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about how to play straight bow with a beautiful sound more comfortably. And I will walk you through 7 different exercises that you can do step by step to really get that straight bow into your body. No matter what portion of the bow you're playing, you want to be able to feel comfortable and being able to control the bow, because this is where you are making the sound that comes out of your violin, and you don't want this to be getting in the way of practicing session of your left hand. So tune in till the end of the video, because I will walk you through the 7 exercises and then also reveal some expert secrets at the end of the video and give you some free resources. So tune in till the end of the video to get the most out of it. Let's start with some challenges that come with not having the bow arm set up really correctly. When you are focusing on left hand practice, when your bow is not making a good sound, it's hard to hear the intonation, it's hard to hear good sound quality. So it is actually better to practice open strings with your bow arm before you practice your left hand, because when your bow arm is comfortable and when your sound quality is good, you can hear better with the intonation, the fine tunes, and then the perfect resonance. But if your bow is not straight, if your bow is not in the right spot, and if the bow is not stable, it's hard to hear a good sound quality that you can start from. So I would recommend practicing these exercises before you practice any pieces to really get your bow arm really comfortable, so it becomes like automatic even when you're not thinking about it. Let's start with the bow hold. So many people struggle with this because all 5 fingers need to be more flexible. When one of them is locked, when you're pushing the bow with finger or with your thumb or having the fingers out to spread it out like this, it just creates the lock here. And when you lock this part, imagine the joint that is locked. If this part is locked, can you move this part freely? Not really. So there's connection with this bow and your arm right here that needs to be very flexible, supportive, and harmonious. So that's the goal in holding your bow. So all the 5 fingers are bended, not over bended, but just enough to create some flexibility. So these exercises I show you in the beginning of the Master Your Bow Arm video, so I will post it somewhere here, so check that out to really give you some resources to start from. And then from here, when your bow hold is well set up with good contact, because when you have good contact with the bow from all different sides, so from the bottom and from the top and from the side and from the top, this really helps the bow to be stable. And bow needs a good support, although it doesn't need to be squeezed or controlled with your right hand. So just enough balance of the support without squeezing or without tightening, because I am holding it actually really lightly and I'm not dropping the bow. Tightening the bow comes from, oh, I might lose it, but you're not gonna lose it with good support system around your bow, with good contact without squeezing, right? So that's the first step. And then after that, let's practice on A string with the first exercise that I'm gonna give you, because your bow arm needs to be loosened and relaxed enough to be able to put the bow down and then lean on the string, but also stable enough with this hand form, this arm shape. So look at this. There's a small heel over here, right? So this heel is going to make you feel comfortable doing the up bow, because I see that some people are doing up bow with locked wrist. See, we talked about unlocking the bow hold, and the next step is to unlock your wrist, and next step is to unlock your elbow, and next step is to unlock here. So relaxing your shoulder, right? So we worked on the bow hold to be flexible, and then now when you put down the bow, relax your wrist, but not sinking down like this, but just enough weight. When you can put more weight on your index finger and look at my bow hold. My index finger is a little more down than other fingers because I want this to be the point that I put the arm weight down, right? If it's here, it's going to create some tension here when I try to push it down. But if it's here, it's actually easier to put the weight down without any pressure on my wrist or elbow. And from here, your wrist is a little poked up, right? But still, I have space in between my body and my upper arm. So space is also important in violin playing, both on your right arm and also your left arm. So your upper left arm and upper right arm, both of them have space in between your body and your arm, right? So when you put down your bow, there's space here, so it's not like this, right? When I say relax your elbow, some people do this, but that's not what I meant. There's always this stable structure here. Then D string. See, even on E string, I'm not doing this. There's still space here, right? So always create the space around your body to move around with flexibility. And from here, so let's start from the A string. First exercise that you can do to really make sure that your elbow and your wrist and all the parts of your bow arm is relaxed is that when you start from the frog and then good sounding point in the middle between the bridge and then fingerboard. So not too close to the bridge, see, like it escapes the sound, not too much on the fingerboard. When you are sliding down the violin angle, bow tends to slip down towards the fingerboard. So this is why you want to make sure that your posture is aligned, your spine is aligned, and your violin is right angle to your body. Actually, not the violin, but the strings, the fingerboard. Because you see the fingerboard is actually slide down just a little bit, right? You want the fingerboard to be parallel to the ground. So it might look like my violin is a little higher than right angle to my body, but it's actually the fingerboard that's right angle to my body to be able to play right angle with your bow hair, right? And then stop in the middle and check if your elbow is unlocked and if your bow is right angle to the string and your bow is in the middle and your bow hold is not tight here, right? And then from here, you're gonna go straight down and then push it a little forward. See, my bow arm is going just a little more this way. So if you go this way, see, when people start playing the violin, they go like this. So that creates sound that's not clear, not focused. But when you go like this and then stop, relax your elbow. Because when your elbow is relaxed, it's easier to push it a little forward without forcing it, right? So if your elbow is locked, then you're automatically going this way. But you don't want that. So relax your elbow and then push it a little forward, right? Stop. And then relax your elbow, relax your shoulders, and then make sure your bow hold is still stable. My pinky come off at the tip of the bow because I have short pinky and everyone else does, right? You don't need to force your finger to be on top of the bow. You can just relax your pinky because here the weight point comes from the index finger. You're just putting the weight down on the index finger more than your pinky. But at the frog, you will really need your pinky to bear the bow weight. So here and then here, relax your bow arm. And then from here, relax your wrist and then relax your elbow here so that you can fold it back, right? So don't go, if it's locked, then the bow would want to go this way. But unlock your elbow and then fold it back. Right? So this is the motion you want to practice. Fold it back. It may feel like you're going other way that's not straight, but actually it's a good exercise to do to get used to this movement, even if it's just slightly out of straight line. because that creates more friction than going this way, right? So from here, unlock your elbow so that your elbow comes closer to your body this way. So here. And then from here, from the middle bow, check if your elbow is relaxed, and then also check if your wrist is relaxed. And imagine there's something right underneath your wrist that leads you up, right? So from this point, your wrist is leading the up bow. So look, here my elbow is relaxed, my wrist is relaxed, and it's poking up just a little bit, like a small heel here. And then you're gonna go up with your wrist up, and then your arm just follows, right? And then come back down, relax your elbow, and then push it a little forward, and then come back to the middle, and then go up, right? So you can do this exercise on each string because each string will feel a little differently in terms of the angle of the bow arm, right? This one, I feel more space in between my upper arm and my body. G string, even more so. But you can put more weight on the bow this way. Just make it straight, and then the sounding point is gonna be just a little further away from the bridge because it needs a little more resonance from the bridge to the bow hair. And then E string is gonna be a little closer to the bridge. Stop in the middle, and then E string may not need to push too much forward. You can just stay down, and you don't need to go all the way to the tip. You can just go somewhere that's comfortable enough for your bow arm to not overextend it, because that can also create the lock here, right? So comfortable enough, and then come to the middle, and then your wrist up, right? So that's the exercise that you can do for 4 strings. In the beginning, you might feel when you're trying to relax, you are tight and then you had to let go. But when you do this exercise, try to let go from the beginning and see if your arm is relaxed throughout each section, right? And then after that, you're gonna play with full bow without stopping. But doing all the movement that we've done in the beginning exercise, right? So really slowly, but the bow weight. Relax your shoulders. Just leaning on the bow. Flat bow hair. Then E string. For E string, make sure that your violin is not tilting this way too much. Just a little bit flat violin. I don't have shoulder rest, so I have a pad here. But for the people who have shoulder rest, you can open your chest just a little more to have the violin a little flatter. So it's not going to stay here. And another thing is that don't do this with your neck. Always stay straight, aligned with your spine, with your neck, so that your violin is stable here. And your violin is supporting the bow here. If it goes down like this, sound is going to be weak. You want supported system to make a good quality sound for your bow. So your bow is supporting the bow hair, and your bow hair is just leaning on the string. Like this. And make sure you keep breathing comfortably in and out. It's always when you breathe out, you move. Breathe in and breathe out, you move. Something like that. To be able to really have your body more comfortable and more relaxed. When you're holding the breath tight, your body becomes tight. So make sure that you're using your breathing to be able to really move more freely and more flexibly. It was getting warm, so I had my hair up. Next step is to incorporate this full bow and half bow together. So on open strings, you can do full bow with breathing in and out, and then do only the upper half, and then full bow, and then only the lower half. So in this way, you can learn how to use each part of the bow more comfortably, because we use different kinds of mechanism on different part of the bow. Some people are more comfortable in the upper half, some people are more comfortable in the middle, some people are more comfortable at the bottom of the bow. It's very interesting that how they are trained with the bow arm, but we want to really train the bow arm to be flexible and comfortable in all areas of bow hair, because we have this long bow hair that can really change the sound, and the sound quality needs to be stable so that we can really use it more freely. So that's why we're doing this exercise of only doing the upper half and only doing the lower half. So if you have good sense of where the middle bow is where your arm is right angle to your body, right? So like this. This is the middle bow. So you don't want to pass that and then play full bow. Always. This is going to be quarter note and then eighth note. Right? But have a good weight on the string, on the bow, so that your bow is steady all the way. So that's the third exercise that you can do. So before we go on, to be able to play the lower half comfortably is to be able to use your wrist unlocked in this slightly heeled angle, and then also to be able to have a space in between your bow arm and your body. Imagine there's a magnet over there that is pulling the bow up and your bow arm is just following. So you don't need to do anything here to climb up your arm or raise your shoulder, but have your shoulder relaxed and stable and just following the bow, and your wrist is kind of leading the bow. And one more important thing, expert tip, is that when you come to the frog, you want to tilt the bow hair a little bit so that your sound doesn't crash. And also at the same time, when you're on E string, if you don't tilt the bow, you're going to hit here. And that's going to create tension, or you won't go near the frog on any of the string because you're afraid of hitting it. But if you can tilt the bow, you're right through this C hole here, so that you have this good path. There's why the violin is made this way, because we want to feel free with this path of your bow hold to come to the frog more easily. And also, the sound is going to be smoother and softer at the frog, because frog is where the bow weight is the most. So if you just put the flat bow hair, it's going to make aggressive sound, and it depends on what kind of sound you want to make. If you want to play with full forte sound, go ahead and put the weight and then pull the bow fast. But otherwise, in this exercise, when we are trying to really get the bow more comfortable with normal pace, we want to make sure that the sound quality is not too aggressive at the frog. So that's why we're tilting the bow hair. But then after you change the bow, you want to come back to the flat bow hair, and then when you come to the tip, still flat bow hair, and then in the middle, flat bow hair. But when you come to the frog, just a little bit tilting. This way, it's going to be helpful if your fingers are supporting the bow nicely, rather than having your bow hold a little higher here. If you're like this, it's easier to get tight because you don't have enough support for your bow. But give enough bow support with your fingers, with all around, with good contact. It is a good support that your bow is going to be able to move more comfortably and flexibly. So when you come to the tip, see, my index finger is on top of the bow. It's not sinking down. If your index finger is too close to your fingertip, then when you come to the tip of the bow, your wrist might have to collapse down, which creates tension on your bow hold and your arm. But if you rotate this just a little higher, like this, and then have a little longer index finger and have the weight on top, on this part, see, like it's a lower joint of the index finger, like this. You can be more flat bow hair, and then also it's easier to play with stronger sound in this bow hold. See? This is one thing that I wanted to show you about the bow hold. Rotating a little bit towards the top of little lower part of the index finger on the side so that your wrist doesn't have to collapse down, but it stays up so that you can put the bow arm weight more on top of the bow at the tip of the bow. So throughout the video, whenever I go to the tip of the bow, just know that the bow hold doesn't stay exactly the same on each part of the bow. It could actually change just a little bit to be able to support the bow and make the steady sound throughout the full bow. So that's what I wanted to explain this part. And then after that, you want to incorporate some staccato, because staccato is a good way to know if your bow is straight or not. But many people have this not a good concept of the staccato, how it works. So here, staccato always start from the biting the string with your bow hair, which means that you're putting the weight on it so that the bow is going down, and then you're biting it, so it's like creating the friction here without moving the bow horizontally, just vertical weight, and then you release the bow to the tip, just enough weight to make the sound, and then bite the bow again, bite the string again, and then as you start using the bow, you're gonna release the pressure so that the string can ring better. Bite and then release, right? So this is the staccato with the full bow, and then you can do and then bite, and then so when you bite, make sure your arm is not locked. And then after that, you want to do opposite, which is legato and then bite. Staccato, legato, and then staccato. See, when you do staccato in the half bow, bite and then release and then stop in the middle. Make sure your arm is relaxed, your elbow is relaxed, and then see, there's a slight movement of releasing. And then let the bow float on the string, and then biting, stopping, and then releasing, right? Rather than biting, if you don't release the pressure, it's gonna only crush the sound and block the resonance. So string cannot ring better if you're pressing it down all the way. But if you release the pressure, see, it rings better, right? So biting and releasing has to be with each other, and if it's not making a good sound like this, that means your bow is not straight. So this is a good way to practice straight bow with the staccato, because staccato tends to have faster bow speed than just legato, depending on which tempo you're playing. But with the fast bow speed, can you still manage the straight bow? That's the exercise to do. And then after that, you also want to practice the middle bow, right? So middle bow, sometimes people do, see, if your bow arm is locked, if your elbow is locked, your wrist is locked, you want to move like this, right? Which is not a good way to create steady and solid sound, right? So make sure that your upper arm is relaxed and stable. And then you're using your lower arm here, and your bow hold is flexible, right? And then your wrist is not locked. If one part is locked, the other part is going to lock too. They're all connected. That's why they want to follow each other and do the same. So that's why it's important to unlock everywhere. So here, middle bow, unlock your wrist, and then just the 1/3 of the bow hair here. So how I'm doing it is I am not forcing this to stay, but this is stable enough because my elbow is relaxed, and then I'm just going. So exaggerated motion is gonna be like this, right? But I don't want to go that way. Just a little bit of gesture. But with good weight on the bow so it doesn't sway from side to side. So the weight is also important here. If you're holding the bow too tight, it's gonna be hard to put the weight on the string, and the sound is going to escape. But if you put enough weight on the bow, it's going to stay in the same space and not sway from side to side because it has enough weight and friction on the string that creates the sound. Right? So you can practice this middle bow and then also go with the staccato. So by release. For the staccato, you want to be just a little away from the bridge because the bow speed is faster, so you want to make sure that it has enough space to make the resonance. So in this practice, you can master each part of the bow, lower half, upper half, and middle bow, to be straight with good sound quality. And be sure to do this in the beginning of your practice time because we tend to actually focus on the left hand more than the right hand. And when you're not producing a good sound quality with your right hand, it's hard to hear the intonation well. It's hard to really make good sound even if your intonation is good. So I think the first thing to do is the open string exercise with good bow arm and comfortable bow flow in each part, each section of the bow. And if the one string becomes comfortable, then you can move on to the other string and really get comfortable with that because each string has different type of angle that you want to use and you want to get used to those feelings. And then after that, you can incorporate the string crosses, but I will make that video in the future. But for now, focus on one string and you'll be able to play with beautiful, good quality sound with straight bow. And no matter which part of the bow you play, you'll be able to manage the bow speed and how you feel and the sound quality with this exercise. So go and apply this exercise in your practice time in the beginning and see how it changes your practice session. Sometimes when we are focusing on the left hand, we are not focusing on the right hand. When we are just focusing on the right hand, we don't tend to focus on the left hand. It's hard to focus on both together, but if we make one part really easy, so we don't use left hand in this exercise, but we're just doing the open strings, right? Then you can really focus on the bow arm to get that more comfortable, and then you can add your left hand. So for advanced level students, when you're practicing scales, for example, I can use this method with the G major scale. Just 3 notes in one bow, full bow. So you can practice this in this bow, and then after that, I would just continue to full bow and half bow for the whole scale. And then after that, you can do down up first, and then full bow, down up, and then full bow. Right? And then so you can do staccato and then switch long bow and then staccato, long bow and then staccato, and then then you can also do middle bow. And then staccato. You can create all different kinds of variations with just simple G major scale. Or you can play etudes. Kreutzer etudes have so many different types of bowing variations. So use those on number 2 just to get really used to the bow speed and staccato combination so that you're used to the straight bow with good sound quality. Apply this in your practice time and let me know how it was in the comment below and what was your takeaway from this video. If you have any questions around the bow arm, feel free to let me know in the comment below so I can get back to it or create another video around that. And as you can see, it's so important to be more aware of your body and relax each part of the body, unlock the tension so that we can create beautiful sound with our body, with the violin. Because you are the part of the music that plays the violin, and when you are not comfortable in your body and when you are tensed up, it's not going to make a beautiful sound with your violin. In my group program, the 𝗨𝗪𝗘 Violin Mastery Foundation, we are working on that together, and then students are experiencing breakthroughs in every session, making beautiful sound in just a few weeks, and seeing the results just really makes me happy because it not only works for me but also works for all different levels of students. And believe it or not, advanced level students also struggle with the foundation because it doesn't feel good in the body, and when we are trained that way, it's hard to break the bad habit. So I'm inviting you to this free training that I'm doing, Unlocking 𝗨𝗪𝗘 Violin Mastery, which I'm going to talk about how to let go of the tension in the body to make beautiful sound. And if you are aligned with your mind and body together, because our mind can also get in the way of playing the violin more freely. So I will walk you through 5 different essential keys to really unlock playing the violin more easily with more confidence in this free training. So if this resonates with you, sign up in the link below so that I can teach you on a deeper level how to unlock the potential that you can play the violin more beautifully and comfortably. If you like this video, thumbs up and share this video with others for more valuable tips like this. And I have a free PDF, Happy and Effective Violin Practice, that walks you through 10 steps to make your violin practice more enjoyable and effective. So download the PDF below if you haven't, and sign up for my free training, Unlocking 𝗨𝗪𝗘 Violin Mastery, right now, because I don't do this training often, and it's going to transform how you play the violin and how you practice the violin more effectively. And this is for passionate violinists who are dedicated and committed to their progress of violin journey and willing to take the first step to get to the next level, and being open-minded to the holistic approach, not just, oh, I want to get this done, I want to get this done, I want to learn this and that, but in a holistic way, laying out the foundation to make your violin journey long-lasting journey with more joy and confidence. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video with more valuable tips. And in the meantime, happy practicing!